All right, let's get to it here, guys. So 3 games we know: Washington, Buffalo, Washington. Look, I think everyone knows the big deal down the stretch and what this team will do in the postseason is going to come down to the offense. It's going to come down to the running game, and it's going to come down to the effectiveness of Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We know the defense is good enough. Doesn't mean they're going to play spectacular every game, but they're pretty darn good. They might be truly great. And it looks like the Eagles' defense puts out a very good or great performance almost every game. Eagles' offense, quite the opposite. So as we come down the stretch, I'll ask you at 215-592-9494. Down the stretch of the regular season, what do you expect from this Eagles' offense, and specifically Jalen Hurts? If you had to put money on Jalen down the stretch, to put money on him or not, how would you do it? Put another way, very basic. Do you expect Jalen to be good, very good, great, or none of the above? He obviously had not been very good for a good stretch of November. I'd say he's been pretty freaking pedestrian for most of the season, although he's had some shining moments, there's no question. John, last week there was Tanner McKee talk. That has gone away this week because he played well versus the Raiders. But what do you expect from Jalen down the stretch? What are your thoughts?
Well, he's our guy. He's the franchise guy. He has proven in the past that when the games get bigger, he gets a little, cooler and stronger and tougher and more focused and does better all around. I don't know. It's like when the games matter more.
It's true in the Super Bowls and the last NFC Championship game. I'd say it's not true in a lot of other playoff games he's played. I mean, he had 2 whoppers of disasters against Tampa. And I'd say he's had other playoff games. Like, I think back to some of the others, including the Green Bay game last year. Not good.
And the Rams, that was a
And the Rams game was worse.
All right.
Now, he was hampered around the third quarter with the knee, and that started creating some of the sacks. But, I mean, I would call that a below-average performance in that game for what it's worth.
Wow. And I watch other games, watch other teams' quarterbacks, and watch the way their performances fluctuate as well. Watch the way the greats have fluctuated. It's not every game you throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's the exception, not the rule. Our guy has done it when it's mattered the most, which is unbelievable.
It is an incredible thing.
And so
it is.
Take it or leave it. I'll take it. I'm thankful for it. I'm sure there are things he can do better. I know he's a young player. That's the beauty of him being a young player. So while there's room for improvement, I'm glad he's our guy, and I look forward to him continuing to excel when it matters the most.
You know, it'll be interesting here. One thing that ties into all this is how much he's going to run the remainder of the regular season and then in the playoffs. And I view it really through 2 different prisms. I don't think he should run much, and I don't think he will run much in the remainder of the regular season. I think it's time to look, we know he can when he chooses to, and they choose to. And I think it's good to know that he likely will be better in the playoffs because of that. As it relates to the regular season, I would not run him much the rest of the way because I don't think the Eagles are going to be the 1 seed. They might get the 2 seed.
Still have a chance at the 2.
Of course, very much still have a chance. I mean, look, Chicago could lose 2 of these 3.
And they play Saturday night. They host the Packers.
There's no question. Now, if Chicago wins that game, then it becomes much harder to get to 2. Chances are the Eagles will be the 3. They got a shot for the 2. That's where they're going to settle in, 2 or 3. I wouldn't go wild with Jalen down the stretch running in order to chase the 2.
Weren't you intrigued by what Kelsey said yesterday that he would?
Yeah, I was.
He said they need to get into a rhythm. They need the reps. I was surprised by that.
I was very surprised because I'll tell you what, Jason Kelsey knows a lot more about football than I do. But I feel like last week proved, even if he hasn't run much lately, when Jalen needs to run, he can. I mean, this is something, let's be real, it's something he's been doing since grade school. So I don't think Jalen Hurts is a lesser runner in January if he doesn't run in December. That's me. But if you missed it, yesterday, Jason's point was they have to establish doing it and create repetitiveness doing sort of the whole thing. I mean, of course, the under center thing would be an example. But the Jalen running thing, I don't know. I don't often disagree with him on football. That's one spot I did disagree. John, what do you make of that?
I thought the point he made was incredible. Games give more practice than practice at learning
certainly
the run game for this O-line. So games give more practice than practice. Practice really is just like walkthrough anymore.
Well, at this
you look at the schedule, and it's by the time training camp is over, they're pretty much just walking through. I guess some teams request to hit the team that won the Super Bowl. They were wearing pads late in the season.
But you only get so many days of that. I mean, look.
Yeah, you're only allowed to do that so many times.
Yeah, the Jalen thing.
He said practicing. If you really want to practice, if you really want to get better, call it and run it in games. So I love that approach. I agree with that approach. I didn't play under this collective bargaining agreement that really does limit teams as much as this does.
Or this type of offense. I mean, this is something that 20 years ago wasn't going on in pro football when you were playing. Look, 215-592-9494. I think Jalen's been pedestrian for most of the season, although he's had some shining moments. And I ask you down the and let's remember that. And I ask you down the stretch, do you expect him to be good or not? Let's remember last week, right around this time, we did a poll before the last game. Who should start the last game? 24% of people said Tanner McKee. I was not one of them. But it was striking. I mean, really striking that a quarter of the audience, Eagles fans, said, okay, let's go to the backup quarterback to start the game. And then the other poll question we had, which was, if Hurts continues to struggle, are you open-minded to McKee down the stretch to make the change this season? And over 50%, slightly over 54% said yes. Devin, do you expect Jalen to be good down the stretch?
I do. And I also agree with what Jason Kelsey said. I think that, I know it was the Raiders, but we saw the offense really look like a cohesive unit. And it feels like kind of the final two games, going into the bye where they were starting to look like they were becoming, one unit, and that had been an issue. And then it looked disjointed again in their 3 losses. So I think that they need the reps no matter who the opponents are. You're not going to get the 1 seed, so you're still kind of playing for something, especially this week. So I think, at least for these next 2 games, I don't know about that final Commanders game.
We don't know if any starters will play. That's a whole different matter.
Right.
James, do you think they should run Jalen a lot? Because I don't. I think last week proved, 1, he can do it. 2, it can get real scary on a hit. Don't do that again unless you need it in the playoffs.
Absolutely not. Yeah, as far as running him, I'm so with you, Joe. Look, you gotta clinch the division, and you gotta do a few things just to get ready for the playoffs and all that. And if I do trust Jalen, we've talked about this a lot, but I think he's incredibly smart with his decision making when it comes to running, when it comes to getting out of bounds, when it comes to getting down, all that. So I trust him. So I think there'll be opportunities in games where he has a smart, quick run that he can take, but design runs, telling him to go for it late in games if he has to, save that for the playoffs, man. We're good.
Think about what we're expecting him to do. How unfair it is. What we expect him to do.
That's not unfair.
Listen to the job. Go out there and win these games, but don't risk yourself in any way. Go out there and practice the run game.
His job every week.
Don't get
John, that's
hurt
the job of scrambling
quarterbacks. A quarterback.
If you have that skill, that part of the job is managing when to go for it and when not to.
And that's why I'm pointing out how difficult that whole concept really is. Just imagine these last 3 games. It's just the 2 of the teams don't really feel like they're that big a challenge, right? It's the same team, the Commanders. So. Right. So what should Jalen do? Should he hold back a little bit? Should he run just a little less fast? I don't understand how some of these things are throttled. And then I see him run faster in an overtime period, and I think, okay, I guess certain things can be throttled that I wouldn't be able to throttle myself. But when you're a quarterback, how do you throttle how hard you go out there and play to win? I think that there are certain things that, I don't know, you shouldn't govern her.
He's been doing it all season, though. This has been his season. All season he hasn't run. He's controlled
figured
himself.
out a way to do it.
John, here's my argument against what you're saying. Michael Vick.
There's no way to argue against what I'm saying. I'm just saying
I'll
it's
give
a
you
statement of it's a truism. It's the
way. But it's the job.
He functions, and I think it's amazing to behold.
No, I don't know
that we've ever.
He's very good at that.
I don't know that it's like evaluatable from the normal standard.
Well, it's the gig, but I'll say this: part of what makes, for instance, Jalen more valuable than where Michael Vick was for a good portion of his career. Michael Vick was one of the greatest competitors we've ever seen. I don't think we've ever seen a player try harder. That includes Pete Rose. That includes Moses Malone. I think when Michael Vick played a game, he tried as hard as you can. The problem is Michael Vick did not have that switch to be careful. He didn't have the be careful.
He didn't know how to
switch.
slide.
He didn't know how to slide. He would take on linebackers that he shouldn't have, and he would get injured more often. And then he would miss 2 or 3 games. I mean, he lost his job to Foles in part because he got hurt, and then Foles played well, and then they're like, all right, well, Foles.
Yeah, solely because he got hurt. Foles wouldn't have got a chance if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, so
Jalen is like the opposite of that.
He is the opposite.
I don't understand. I've never seen someone this effective at being the opposite of.
Well, but John, here's the question. I guess part of what we're getting at today, and you can weigh in at 215-592-9494. Do you think he should run less now that he showed last week he can, and the games, while mattering, probably don't matter much for the 1 seed? But the other question is, if he does run less, how effective do you expect him to be? See, that's the part. That's where I go back to.
Well, there's
I think
way
the offense,
he runs more. There's no way he
Yeah, but my
runs
point
a
is,
lot.
I expect the next 3 games, the overall offense look not good again, because when he doesn't run much, it doesn't generally look good. I mean, that's just the way I see it, and I think it's largely because of him. Because when he's like, hey, it's time to pass, I don't think he's that great at it. All right, 215-592-9494. Where do you stand on all that? Do you think he's playing for his job down the stretch? We had McKee talk last week. Do you think that's still on the table as it relates to the playoffs, to 2026? Is he out of the woods? I don't think one good game against the Raiders means he's out of the woods on that. I think he's going to be the quarterback the rest of the way. I thought that this season. I thought that last week. I still think it. But I do think 2026 hangs in the balance based on how he performs down the stretch. You tell us. Joe DeCamara, Jon Ritchie, 215-592-9494. A lot to do. A couple games and opportunity for the Eagles, opportunity for Jalen. Joe DeCamara, Jon Ritchie from Borgata, along with Devin, Rhea, and Seltzer on 94 WIP.